What if I told you that you could have pizza every single day and it would still be healthy? Would you believe me? Hello my dear friends, today I wanted to share with you a little treat that I have been testing out for a couple of weeks now because I wanted to make sure that it comes out pretty good every time. It features none other than my favorite, which is sweet potato. And if you'll remember on my sweet potato little bread bites, if you haven't seen that, go check it out after this. But basically, the amount of ingredients that you put into a dough when you include things like vegetables or fruits will really vary because it really depends on the amount of water that that fruit or vegetable has. So it's never going to be like an exact recipe like when you're baking a cake that is just like 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of this, this will be a little bit different, and it will require your hands again, using your senses to figure out when the dough is in the right point. Not difficult, very simple. I just wanted to share this little intro. So I'm bringing up the sweet potato because this pizza recipe is like to die for. Amazing. I've been loving it so much. It's filling, it's delicious. It's so much better than those gluten-free pizza crust that you buy in stores or even when you go out. Honestly, I did find one from Costco that I like, and that's what we do on Pizza Fridays here. But every time that I go out and I'm like, you know what, let me just deal with the consequences and the flare-ups of just a regular pizza, because I have not found really good gluten-free ones other than that one little exception that I just told you about. But that's a frozen pizza. So I wanted to find a better alternative because I know that, if you're a pizza lover, having something frozen has a few different issues, I would say. For starters, it will always come with packaging. So if you're trying to avoid using as much plastic, a really great way is making your own pizza, making your own food, as opposed to buying the frozen or the pre-made or anything like that. And then the second thing is the ingredients, of course. So if you make something, you have full control and you can make this masterpiece that is delicious and also has nutritious ingredients. So this pizza has just 2 ingredients. How amazing is that? And you probably already have them at home. The first one, like I mentioned, will be your sweet potato. And then the second one is oat flour. No need to buy some oat flour. If you have oats, just use that. Put it in the food processor, give it a nice blend, and voila, you have your oat flour. And yes, although I did complain about the food processor, I do use it for this purpose in making my own flours. I think that that is actually worth it for me, and it's pretty easy to clean if it's not like sticky, you know what I mean? So the goal for this video is to show you 2 different ways that you can enjoy this pizza. One will be with the basic ingredients, so just a little tomato sauce and some cheese. It's gonna take you probably less than 10 minutes and you'll have your pizza ready. And then the second one, now this one I haven't tested out, so I'm fingers crossed that it's gonna work out. I wanted to make a sweet version of pizza because in Brazil we do tend to enjoy our dessert pizzas as well. And one of the main toppings that you will find is a brigadeiro, which is condensed milk, cacao powder, and butter and milk optionally. You just cook that until it becomes like this like caramel texture almost, I would say. You wait until it thickens because you're supposed to roll it into little balls. If you have not tried that, I do suggest that you do so because it is absolutely delicious. I don't think I have a regular recipe of brigadeiro. I have like other types, other versions. But if that's something that you're into, I can definitely share that.
God, I got so sidetracked.
So what I meant to say is that the pizza, the sweet pizza in Brazil usually will be like the regular crust and then with some brigadeiro on top, and maybe they'll have like strawberries or bananas, things like that, and it's so good. I wasn't gonna make a brigadeiro just for that, but I still wanted to give it like chocolate feel. So I am going to attempt to make, instead of a brigadeiro, I'm going to use peanut butter, cacao, and date syrup. and I'm gonna mix that until it's a more spreadable form, let's say. And I'm gonna use that as my sweet pizza topping. We'll see. I'll let you know. You'll find out in a few seconds. So, are you ready? Come with me. The first step is making your oat flour. And it's as simple as just adding regular oats to the food processor and blend until it reaches a flour texture. Transfer into a container with a lid and keep in your pantry for everyday use. Now let's get to the good stuff, our perfect and delicious 2-ingredient pizza, sweet potato and oat flour. For this recipe, we're using cooked sweet potato. I like to cook mine on the stove top, whole with a peel, in a pan with boiling water for 20 to 30 minutes. But you can also microwave it for 5 minutes if you're short on time, or even bake it in the oven for about 50 minutes if you already have something in the oven. To make the pizza dough, mash half a sweet potato with a fork and throw in a little seasoning like salt, black pepper, and even garlic powder if you like. Add 1 cup of oat flour and get those hands in the dough. Let your senses guide you. How does the dough feel? It should not be too sticky or too dry. It should feel kind of like Play-Doh. If it's still too sticky, add a little more of the oat flour. On a skillet, place the pizza dough and press down with your fingertips. The thinner that you are able to make the dough, the better. Now prick the dough a few times with a fork. And using any lid, cover the pan, take it to the stovetop on medium heat for about 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, we flip our pizza and add the toppings. I started with very little ketchup, topped with some cheese, sprinkled a little oregano, and used some fresh basil from the garden. Cover the pan and cook it once again for an extra 5 minutes or until the cheese melts. The reason for the lid is to allow the pizza dough to cook better and for the cheese to melt better as well, in case you were wondering. And now we are ready. Would you look at that? Ready for the sweet pizza? To make the dough, we are repeating the steps from the cheese pizza, but instead of adding salt, I added a little cinnamon and coconut sugar, but that is completely optional, of course. For the sweet topping, I decided to make a peanut butter chocolate frosting type of thing. I added 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, 1 tablespoon of cacao powder, about half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 2 tablespoons of date syrup. Give it a good mix until all the ingredients are well combined and spread it on your pizza right after flipping the dough. Okay, so for all the chocolate lovers out there, this is a must. And if you're feeling a bit festive, let's say, top your pizza with some coconut shreds and chocolate sprinkles. And we are back from the kitchen with our little pizza. It looks so good. It smells so good. I wish that I could send it over to you guys, but you can always make it yourself. As you saw, it's pretty easy to make. And in fact, I have been making these as dinner, like for the past 2 weeks. I feel that I've made it at least like 5 different times. They all come out really good. I've played around with different toppings, but this is my favorite. So you will see that I did put ketchup instead of tomato paste or marinara sauce, which is usually what you put in pizza. I didn't want to be opening a can of anything because I didn't have anything open. So I thought, you know what? A little bit of ketchup. If you buy a good quality ketchup, preferably organic, preferably gluten-free. For me, I always look for, the ones that are gluten-free. there shouldn't be a problem because as you saw, it was very, very little. So it's just to just to add that little layer between the pizza and the cheese. The basil I got from my garden, and I added a variation of the green and the purple. Just to make it a little bit prettier, but they both, for me at least, taste kind of the same. So for the moment of truth, well, I already know how it tastes like, so. Mm, mm, this is so good. This is the type of thing that, yes, you can have every single day. It's so nutritious. Sweet potato has so many, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber. And then you have the oats, which is like also another superfood, in my opinion, which is very underrated. People think that oats is just for oatmeal, and I have crazy hair as always. That oats is just for oatmeal, and that's so far from the truth. You can play around with it in so many different ways. In fact, that can be your main type of flour to use in your baked goods. I find that it works really well typically in baked goods, and I really enjoy using oat flour. And as you saw, you can really make your own. So who's that for pizza every day? What are your favorite pizza toppings? So if you like this recipe, make sure to hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to the Nutrinut YouTube channel so you don't miss another video. Thank you as always so much for watching. Until next time.